Walk to the Jetty is a short story by Jamaica Kincaid taken from the eighth and final chapter of her novel titled Annie John, published in 1985. It is a Bildungsroman tale set in Antigua during the 950s, from the first-person perspective of 17-year-old Annie John. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Annie prepares for her journey to England to study nursing. As she wakes on the day of her journey, she anticipates her boat trip to Barbados and then onwards to England. Reflecting on her home, Annie muses over the handcrafted items made by her parents, evoking a sense of nostalgia and the need to carve her own path. The familiar sound of the church bell at 7 triggers memories as Annie dresses in attire sent by the local Obio woman. Sharing heartfelt breakfast with her parents, their mixed emotions mirror her own, despite her relief at departing. Annie's mother subtly hints at marriage, but Annie firmly rejects the notion. Despite her waning attachment, Annie bids farewell to Gwen, who shares her plans for marrying Nevis, a local boy. Walking through town with her parents on the way to the ship, Annie is engulfed by memories of her upbringing, including poignant moments like her first errand for her mother, which was to get dried herbs from the market. As she prepares to leave her island behind, Annie's mind is filled with a montage of cherished memories. As Annie and her parents reach the jetty for departure, memories flood her mind of past walks with her father and interactions with the watchman. Despite the familiarity, a sense of apprehension grips her as she gazes at the water below, fearing the idea of leaving her parents and her life behind. Though she questions why she doesn't collapse in despair, she pushes forward, boarding the launch with her parents. Once aboard the boat, her mother introduces Annie to the captain, stressing Annie's lack of solo travel experience. Assigned to share a cabin with another young woman, Annie's parents embrace her tightly, prompting tears from both her and her mother. Amidst the emotional farewell, her mother reassures Annie that regardless of her endeavors, she will always have a home in Antigua. Though outwardly smiling, Annie acknowledges the bittersweetness of her departure. As her mother exits the cabin, Annie retrieves a red cotton handkerchief to wave goodbye to her family. Watching her mother wave back vigorously until they're out of sight, Annie retreats into the cabin, listening to the rhythmic lapping of waves as the ship sets sail. The tale starts with the declaration, "My name is Annie John," a statement that echoes throughout the story, emphasizing Annie's pursuit of a distinct identity separate from her family and a yearning for autonomy. Despite her reluctance, Annie's decision to depart from her homeland highlights her determination for freedom and self-reliance. "I did not want to go to England. I did not want to be a nurse." While she harbors disdain for England, recognizing it as her only viable option reflects her resolute determination to forge her own path. Annie deems it silliness for Jen to marry a local boy. In a society where women's choices are limited, Annie's defiance against an arranged marriage highlights her fierce independence. Though societal norms may dictate silence and adherence to male-dominated conventions, Annie's strong-willed nature refuses to succumb entirely to such constraints. Annie experiences dissatisfaction with her current circumstances, feeling a disconnection both from her surroundings and the prospect of relocating to England. Disdain for her parents' traditions, particularly the notion of arranged marriage, fuels her desire for independence. Annie recognizes that staying in her hometown may confine her to a life resembling her mother's, inhibiting her personal growth. Her emotional reserve becomes apparent through her reluctance to express her true feelings towards others. Anticipating liberation from her familial ties and past, Annie eagerly awaits the chance to assert her individuality and establish independence. However, as she awakens on her final morning, she realizes that her parents' identities pervade her home, leaving little space for her own. Yearning for the freedom to express herself fully, Annie seeks a new environment where she can carve out her own identity. Despite her longing for home, she acknowledges the necessity of leaving to fulfill her aspirations, balancing nostalgia with the pragmatic pursuit of personal growth. Annie deals with conflicting emotions, torn between her desire for independence and her nostalgia for her hometown. As her parents mourn her departure over breakfast, neighbors stop by to offer well wishes for her journey. Walking to the jetty, Annie's mind drifts to seemingly insignificant yet deeply cherished memories, like the first time she ran an errand for her mother, reflecting her reluctance to let go of her past. Despite her discontent with her surroundings, Annie holds on to fond recollections, even making a point to bid farewell to a former friend, acknowledging Gwen's impact on her life. While she longs to depart for England, a part of her hesitates to leave behind the familiarity of home, even if it no longer fulfills her. Every sight reminds her of her history, like her school, the church, and the place where she worked as an apprentice for a seamstress. Yet she yearns to break free from the confines of a place where her past defines her. Hope you like, share, and subscribe for more.